allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
Thank you guys so much for being here. If you see present under presentation, we are now in section A. And what we're going to do, and you might want to listen up because we're only going to do this once. It's very important that we listen and we all have a general understanding of why we have rules of decorum to begin with, why they're important for these meetings to be conducted in an efficient and effective manner. It is obvious why we're doing this today. Things have been escalating, things have been getting louder, people have been in each other's faces, so much so that you had a full escalation at our previous meeting in front of children, and that is just unacceptable. So we're gonna go ahead and start off by making a few things clear. What these meetings are not. These meetings are not political rallies. These meetings are not town halls. These meetings are not a protest. If you're here for a protest and you drove out here for a protest, I would encourage you to stand up, step outside, and go ahead. And we're going to use this as a prime example of what not to do. Because if you're here for a protest, you do that out there, not during city council proceedings. What this is a city government proceeding, and that is what this is. And there are rules of decorum established for that very purpose that everybody must follow. Everybody in this room has a role. We as a council have a role. The Sergeant of Arms has a role. I, as presiding officer, have a role. But most importantly, you guys, the public and the audience, have a role. Now let's go over that. We're going to break this down and go over your role as the audience. We abide by Robert's Rules of Order, and we strip this down to 3 basic rules. The first one is no one is allowed to speak unless directed by the presiding officer. There is a structure to these meetings. Any unauthorized remarks, such as stomping your feet, whistling, smirking, yelling, applauding, booing, all of that will not be tolerated. It's in violation of our rules and you will be kicked out. Any willful, that's right, any willful interruption of those rules, and if your sole intention is to come here and disrupt these meetings, you will be escorted out of this room. In a nutshell, 2 words, no interruptions. There will be a time for public comment. Public comment is set aside, and mark my words and rest assured, we will protect your freedom of speech for 3 minutes during public comment. After public comment, we will proceed with city business at hand. We're going to go over the time allotted for public comment, whether we want to limit public comment because we have an abundance of public speaker cards, or if we keep the time as is and limit the time, anything over that time will be moved towards the end of the meeting. Our objective here is simple, is to make sure these meetings are public-friendly spaces. I, as your presiding officer, as well as the sheriff, we do not give a flying hoot about what your political party is, whether you're anti-immigration, pro-immigration. We just care about the respect for the rules of decorum of these meetings. We respect everybody's safety. We want people to be able to come here and participate in a debate and dialogue that affect us. With that, we want to make sure everybody understands these rules early on, because you can consider this an official first warning for everybody.
And gender is the physical attributions at birth, so meaning male or female.
Next is sexual orientation, which is a person's sexual identity, who they are attracted to. Next is gender identity. It's one innermost concept of self. And gender expression, the ways in which we each manifest masculinity or femininity. And lastly, transitioning from one gender to the other. And I'm also including pronouns here because this is how someone likes to be referred to. An example, she or her, he or him, or they and them. And currently what's affecting the LGBT community is the healthcare system. There is a lack of laws and policies which are in effect, housing and homelessness, violence and hate crimes, employment, legal status, whether a person is documented or undocumented, and health and HIV status as well. And currently within the transgender community, this is data from 2016, 26% of trans people have lost a job due to being trans, 50% were harassed on the job for being trans, 20% were evicted or denied housing for being trans, 78% of trans students were harassed or assaulted, and 21 transgender women have been killed in 2016. And so far in this year, 2017, we have 12 transgender individuals who have been murdered, and we're halfway through the year. So this is just to put things in perspective. In this slide, we have the LGBTQ community. This is discrimination, this is US LGBT employment discrimination laws that protect LGBTQ individuals. In the purple, we have sexual orientation and gender identity, which is protected in both public and private sector. In the lavender, we have sexual orientation, which is protected. However, gender identity is only protected in state employment. In the royal blue, we have sexual orientation protected through all employment. In the fuchsia, we have sexual orientation and gender identity protected through state employment. And in the turquoise, we have sexual orientation protected through state employment. And lastly, in the gray, there's no state level protection for LGBTQ employees. And you can legally get fired in 29 states for being gay or LGBT. And this is what you guys can do to help. You can become an ally. You can get involved with the Wallace and Morias project that supports LGBTQ community, advocate for equal and fair policies, speak up for justice and be a role model, and be up to date with current events affecting the LGBTQ community. And these are current programs and services which we provide at the Wallace and Morias project, which is HIV counseling and testing to gay, bisexual, and transgender community, Hep C education and testing, substance abuse education to LGBTQ Latinos and Latinas, HIV STD prevention to the faith-based community. We offer support groups for gay men, positive men, and transgender women. And we are also currently working on the AIDS monument and enlisting new names to people who have passed away from complications to AIDS-related illnesses. And here's our contact information. Richard Saldivar, which is the CEO and founder of the Wallace and Morias Project, Angela, which is myself, and Johanna Padilla as well. And thank you for having me here.
As we celebrate LGBT and Pride Month here in the city of Cudahy, I would be remiss if we don't recognize some of those heroes that have been at the forefront of this struggle, at this fight for LGBT rights for many, many years. And the executive director of this organization, Richard Zaldivar, is one of those heroes. And we want to recognize his work, his achievements on behalf of the LGBTQ community. But before we bring him up, we do have a few remarks from California State Senator's Office, Ricardo Lara.
We are who we're supposed to be. In the eyes of God, we're normal. It's the other people who have to deal with their own identity as to who they are and why they're here. This comes no greater time than today This is a scary time for all of us in this country. We have never witnessed this before. Such hatred and such bigotry. We've seen hate crimes on an increase of all our community, whether they be Muslim or transgender. And it really is bothersome. For me, who still believes in dreams, that I still believe that we all can live in this world together as God's children. We really need to focus in on hate. Hate is not normal. Hate comes from fear. Hate comes from the unknown. As we in the LGBT community have marched forward towards greater rights, trying to keep people alive from HIV and AIDS, we know how it is. So we continue to call upon the elected officials to help guide us in this process. But it's not only the elected officials' responsibility. It's a responsibility of community. For democracy should be debated with respect before we lose it. And so I thank you in this honor. And I ask that we all work together out of a place of respect and dialogue so that we can continue to have this great country called America. Not just for one group of people or for another group of people, but for all people. Because we're all brought into this world by one God. So with that, with complete humility, I thank you all.
You want to get up? You want to get up?
Hold on, I'm going to deal with it. Thank you.
Bye, Robert. Bye, Robert. Bye, Hernandez.
Continue the meeting.
My name is not Hernandez. Yes, it is.
Sheriff, any official warnings I should give? No? Yes?
You're fine, you can continue.
We're good? Okay. All right. And the time for applause has ended during presentation. There will be no applause, there will be no booing, there will be no heckling of speakers. Treat everybody the way you would want to be treated. So when someone comes up here, respect the speaker's time. If you don't like what they're saying, you just keep that to yourself. And if you want to rebuttal, feel free to submit one of these at the next meeting, and you can speak your mind for 2 minutes. With that, colleagues, we have 60. 2 times 120 minutes. It's about 2 hours. You guys want to just do half of this, limit this for 1 hour, and then do the rest at the end of the meeting? You want to limit it to 1 minute and have everybody speak, but everybody will be cut down to 1 minute. I'm asking my colleagues on the council. Let's go ahead. I'll go ahead and make that motion. We're going to limit all public comments to 1 minute, and we'll go through all these comments. There's 60 of them, so we're going to be here a little over an hour. So with that, we're going to move on to section 5. Each member of the public may submit one comment card if he or she wishes to address the city council. Only speakers that submit a comment card within the first 20 minutes, which we surpassed, will be able and permitted to speak for this time 1 minute. Under the city council's jurisdiction, any person who, without authority of law, willfully disrupts this section of our agenda will be guilty of a misdemeanor, Penal Code Section 403. That is your first official warning, you in the white shirt. With that, the first speaker is Joseph Maroon? Moreno. Joseph Moreno.
And Mr. Mayor, if I may, again, may I please ask that the speakers address the council. Do not turn to the audience, do not ask questions of the audience here to address the council, please. Thank you.
Go ahead, Joseph.
Hi, council members. I'm Joseph Moreno. I live in the city of Huntington Park, which, as you may know, I am your neighbors. This anti-immigration group has come to HB a couple of days ago, and actually they caused quite a disruption in my community. These people have said that I'm, well, most likely Arthur, said that I'm afraid of him, but really he shouldn't be, he shouldn't see me like if I was afraid of him, because we have people in other communities afraid of people like President Trump and people like these groups. Now this group, last time I came here to Cudahy, they disrupted and they started fighting in front of me. So, you know, I just want to say these people are outsiders from this community. These people are violent people, and just beware of them, because last time they were disruptive. And thank you.
Thank you so much for your comments.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I can also make one point. Some of you I know are inclined to record this proceeding, that's fine, but some of you have your lights or your flash on, and I would respectfully ask that you not record with the flash. It's very distracting up here. And again, I would ask that you address your comments to the council, not to the audience. Thank you.
Thank you for that, City Attorney. All right, next we have Joseph Turner.
Good evening, my name is Joseph Turner. I'm the Executive Director of American Children First, and I'm the author of the initiative I filed in Cudahy to repeal the utility user tax. Before I get to that, I'd like to comment on your rules that you guys want to legislate and condescendingly lecture us on. These are from the same people who call this a sanctuary city, who do not want everyone to play by the rules, but yet they want to come here and say, we got to play by your rules fairly. It's ridiculous. You guys are absolutely ridiculous. Now, when it comes to the initiative, you guys are not going to stop me. I know you guys are playing games already. I know the city attorney is playing games already. With 218, I can come after the utility user tax, I can come after the sales tax, I can file an initiative on other things and go after you guys' salaries, I can cap executive compensation. There's a whole host of things I can do. So if you guys want to keep on playing games, because I'm not going to go away. All you got to do is Google me, you know I'm serious, all right? Now, it's laughable when you have this chief sustainability officer come up here and talk about reducing rates by 5.3%. All you gotta do is support my initiative, and businesses.
Thank you so much for your public comment card. Thank you so much for your public comment time. Moving on, we have Arthur Schaefer. Arthur.
Schaefer? Who's that? I'm sorry. My last name's Shopper, not Schaefer.
Shopper.
Okay. I've been using the wrong word. You're not a sanctuary city. You're an outlaw city. The four of you are outlaws. And just for fairness, I'm sad to see that Jack Guerrero is not here. I wish that he would live up to the same standard that he expects of you. But you don't have standards at all. We've got a great new line of clothing here. I call it Nowie wear. There's a lovely picture of Nowie weeping after he got pepper sprayed in the face because he was harassing women and children. And that's the same abuse that he brings here every day. So once again, it's not a sanctuary because you invited this lawlessness. Now, you guys discriminate against us, including you, Mr. Garcia, claiming that we're white supremacists. But you have residents in this city, like Alan Garcia, who said it was wrong for you to say that. And even Mr. Enamorado here had the courage, in spite of what the Democratic Party has told him, it was wrong to call us wetbacks. Okay, I never used that term. You guys are the racists, you guys are the brown supremacists, and your time is running out when Jeff Sessions pulls the plug.
Thank you so much. No. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Arthur, for those comments. Moving on, Nativo Lopez.
Well, my message is pretty simple. I want to echo the remarks of my brother, Robert, and also my young brother, Joseph. I call for everyone to respect each and every individual that speaks here this evening, even if you don't agree with the messenger or the message. I respect and support this city council's position of sanctuary. As Americans, we have a duty to help the most vulnerable in our society. I thank you for being bold and courageous. The organization I represent today, the Hermandad Mexicana, supports you completely, will work to protect you, and I call upon you to not be intimidated by this opposition. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. No applause, please. No booing, please. We're doing really well. We have next, Nawi Hitsto.
If you would please just address the council. Sheriff's going to do it with the audience.
Okay, thank you very much. You know, these people, they're aligned with white supremacists. In San Bernardino, there was a whole bunch of white supremacists with this group. They're in denial. Why do the white supremacists march with this group? Why? Because they believe in the same philosophy, the same ideas. They're a hate group. They hate Muslims, they hate Mexican people, they hate indigenous people, and they hate black people. Yes, there's Mexicans in their side, but there's always going to be people, there's always going to be bandidos, traitors. In the time of the Holocaust, Jewish people helped with the Holocaust. There were traitors. There's traitors in every single people. So these people are white supremacists. They always say, we're not white supremacists. Look at me, I'm dark. Yes, you are. You are a white supremacist. It doesn't matter if you're Mexican or black, you can be a white supremacist. Why? Because you believe in that white man supremacy ideology. Entonces, quiero decir esto en español. Esa ciudad...
Thank you, Nawi. Thank you. Thank you for that. We're doing really well. Next, we have Crystal Kishawas.
Before the speaker speaks, if people could refrain from holding up all objects while speaking, I would appreciate that. Thank you.
City Council, I want to thank you for listening to me. I want to remind you that we are here because of hate and what it really means and what's at stake. Emma Lazarus was a Jewish American woman who wrote the New Colossus in order to